that back. People think I'm funny cause I always make them laugh. I ain't even being funny, I be really spitting facts. I'm about balance and I got talents. Every challenge I overcome. Low-key is savage, never be average. Give me a task and I'll get it done. Minding my business whenever I come in. I'm handling business while I'm having fun. I ain't worried about winning, but that would be dumb cause there's no competition. I already won, huh? Yeah.
Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I will be discussing a little bit more information about Pluto and Aquarius. I'm gonna try to mix it up a little bit and add a little bit about each planet involved or sign involved. Um, as well as focus on some of the um, importance of the evolution of this transit and how it can be affecting our work, how we work as a continuation of my Uranus entering into Gemini video. These two will be trining each other for the next 7 years, as well as Neptune and Saturn and Aries. And so they're really collectively working together to change the way we think about a 9 to 5 on a pretty big scale. And anytime you have a planet that's like, it's first, moving into that particular sign, it's always going to be a shakeup, because it's a vibrational shift. And so, the turbulence is going to be real. I do think AI and technology will take over for the first part of the Pluto and Aquarius transit. As well as there'll be some downfall because it's going to be a power struggle. And it's really about, trying to keep the masses controlled. And so there could be some very negative, lower vibrational ways of using technology, just to keep folks in line. But there's also some really good benefits to AI, especially when it comes to convenience, and I think we'll all be highly attracted to that idea. But the one thing I do think I want to mention before I jump into this is I think the movie that describes Pluto and Aquarius to me the most is Lucy. And I've talked about this before if you've been following me for a while. I think the ultimate goal to Pluto and Aquarius is going to be to have us recognizing that we as human beings are AI. And Lucy, I think, gives the greatest example of what that looks like, what it is, and it will require some research and kind of decoding the metaphorical messages in that movie. It's very, very important to remember that all this AI is going to be great in the beginning, but once we get down to the gist of it all, we're going to realize who we are as technology when it comes to our DNA and how we are have those capabilities as human beings. And that might be a little hard for people to understand right now. I do think we're going to see a lot of mental health things coming up because people are going to be seeing things and dreaming about things, very prophetic dreams, and having experiences that are just going to be unbelievable. But I think the point Pluto and Aquarius is making is it's very believable. You are technology. And those things will become a lot clearer as we move through this transit over the next 20 years. So it'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out for sure. These are just, um, my opinions, to be honest with you. But I also did 12 signs. I didn't do them in order. And I also think I did the elements as well I don't know why, for some reason, I thought that would be really important to talk about the elements, but we're really going to dig deep into all the benefits work-wise and some general, but I'm mostly focusing on entrepreneurship here. Um, when it comes to this transit. And hopefully this helps you kind of navigate towards, what kind of things you might want to do. As I think, unfortunately, the workforce is going to take a pretty big hit of change and transformation. So Pluto in Aquarius. Um, Pluto only covers 3 to 4 degrees every year, and then it'll retrograde back over those degrees. Pluto wants us to kind of connect more to our authenticity to change the planet. Um, and this really only takes if you're doing the work consciously, meaning you're aware of the changes in your life, you're riding that wave and making the necessary changes to align with that energetically. Um, you can do this by following Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, because Pluto rules Aquarius as well. Pluto rules Scorpio as well as Mars rules Scorpio, and Aquarius is ruled by both Saturn and Uranus. So you really, really, really want to pay attention to how whatever sign Mars is in. I think actually Mars is in Virgo at the time that Uranus enters Gemini. I don't remember where it was at when it went into Aquarius. I'd really have to go back and check that out. But for the sake of the time that I'm focusing on, you really want to look back to when Pluto actually entered in Aquarius. That'll give you a lot more information. But Mars will be being in Virgo, Virgo rules the sixth house, which is all about workforce. As Uranus is entering into Gemini, I think that says a lot about what kind of changes will be coming over the next 7 years with that transit. And Uranus will be in Gemini and Saturn is in Aries, and they're all trining each other. So they are in agreement with this breakdown and evolution of how we work, our daily routine, and freedom when it comes to how we make our money. You also only learn the lesson once Pluto leaves that degree. So for example, this year it'll be from 0 to 3 degrees. It'll retrograde back between those degrees this entire year. And then next year, you'll finally begin to understand what lesson 0 to 3 degrees was trying to teach you. So you have to know what house is your Aquarius house, Aries house, and your Gemini house. That's also going to give you more information. And you should also pay attention to the degrees that you have in that house, because you might not even have any degrees between 0 and 3 degrees, which means, this doesn't mean that you're not going to learn a lesson, but you're probably outside of the spectrum until Pluto gets to that degree of your house. So keep that in mind. It just could mean that a lot of the things that are happening are outside of you as opposed to directly to you. That's really all. Nothing, it's nothing good or bad. It's just not your time to experience things yet. Aquarius is a fixed air sign. It's about thoughts and ideas. Fixed energy is stable, long lasting, and it really changes. Another interesting fact to talk about when it comes to Pluto and Aquarius is that they're both fixed energy. Pluto also rules Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. And so when they say it really rarely changes, it means that, it's very unlikely that it's going to change, especially if you're not doing the work. It's a lot harder to see and experience, although I really like Pluto and Uranus together in this way, for the simple fact that change is inevitable. You will, Pluto can cut out an addiction, um, cold turkey. Uranus will kind of shake up your life, like something extravagant or dramatic will happen that makes you change and do things differently, like a really bad car accident. And I don't wish that on anybody, but these could be the things. It could be an existential dream. Aquarius is really not about dreams, it's really about visions, you know? And so something can happen to you that seems so real that you're like, I won't be doing that again, and you change out of the blue after that kind of experience. Um, a lot of us will be gathering information to learn something new or learn how to do something in a new way. Anything that has to do with your true, authentic desires. Pluto is your deepest, darkest desires. It wants you to be free, whatever that looks like, good or bad. It wants to provide the opportunity for you to live in that truth. Aquarius lives in the 11th house. It's our hopes, dreams, visions, future, your unique talents, and how to integrate that into society. Aquarius really is my Captain Planet placement. He wants to make the world a better place. And so a lot of the gifts and talents that you might notice that you have, I mean, all gifts and talents are about giving to somebody else to make their life better, but it might be very futuristic and innovative in a way that it doesn't just help the people, but it helps the world. Meaning like, clean air and energy, solar panels, and, those types of things. We might see like a huge rise in, people being more concerned about whether or not we're living in such a way that doesn't just take care of our health and well-being, but the planet's health and well-being. It will bring tribe connections that connect you with who you are. Aquarius is the rebel, the widow, the black sheep, and often feels alienated from any group. And so again, in the beginning of this transit, I really do feel like a lot of us could be in this space of disconnecting from an old way of doing things, which means you might disconnect from old people, places, and things that no longer align with this new frequency that's trying to integrate throughout your body, your mindset, the way you do things, how you think, etc. Pluto wants to transform your friendship circles. You might want to see your friends more. Pluto wants to transform your online presence. Or you might find yourself participating in what others are offering. This could be a great time to start an online business, online communities. Pluto wants to transform your in-person circles and networks. You'll meet people who will help you, who will solve problems. I also think we can see a lot of changes in local communities, farmers markets. We can see a lot of community gardens, grassroots, innovative projects, humanitarian efforts, and large organizations that kind of come together like a beehive, or the way ants collectively work together to build a community. I think it's going to be really amazing to see how that shifts and changes and what types of people kind of come together in that way. A lot of the fields that will be affected most likely, which, by the way, I also have to say automation is like the early stages of AI, and it's only going to evolve at this point. Um, but we've already seen a lot of these fields being taken over by automation, like having an ATM machine, um, automation. Even calculators would be considered automation. Anything you don't have to do longhand or by hand, and it's done digitally or online through a website, is just the early stages of AI. So these changes have already been happening. They're about to evolve, and they're going to continue evolving, better or for worse. And I think that's what we really need to pay attention to, because I do think we're at some point we're going to have quite a bit of a like iRobot, or we might have to end up fighting these robots like you're not it. And they might kind of start to think that they're better than us, smarter than us. You know, they're going to continue to evolve and grow the more they learn us, the way people evolve and grow when we're around each other. You know, I like to use the example of how women are in the same room, or if they live together, that their periods start syncing. That's Aquarius. I hate to say that, it's really Pluto energy because it rules women's organs. But when we're talking about energetically how people come together, even when you're in a relationship, it doesn't even have to be relative to, you know, feminine parts. When you're in a relationship, you start to pick up your partner's ways. Um, it's a natural way that we connect. This is what they're basing some of this AI automation stuff off of, and how it coalesces and grows and evolves. Which is why we have to remember where we are actually the technology. And I can get into a whole tangent about that. I would love to decode Lucy and break it down how relative that movie is to Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's not even funny, but we're not here for that today. And I have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to keep it moving. But I really like talking about stuff like this. But I say all that to say, um, you know, automation is evolving. And so a lot of the things that we can see changing here, and I tried to add Aries and Gemini themes, even if I don't say Aries and Gemini, um, just to give you guys an idea of what fields will be changing. And if you're in these fields, you might strongly want to consider changing that up, and or you will see changes within those fields over the next 7 years. Bank tellers, clerks, postal service, cashiers, administrative services, secretaries, bookkeeping, taxes, finances, insurance, insurance clerks, banking in general, real estate agents, sales, vendors, big companies, brick and mortars. I did do another video about Pluto and Aquarius where I broke down the different times and stuff, and I talked about brick and mortars. I actually think I did this back in 2020 when Jupiter was in Aquarius, towards the end of the year. But brick and mortars are going to change drastically because now you don't have to pay rent, or they could come up with some way that people could, reduce their costs, their overhead costs, as opposed to brick and mortar, where it's a building, it's a facility, it's a location. You have to pay for that stuff. I do think brick and mortar is going to change at some point in the way that you don't have to have, those expenses anymore, like working from home, for example. This could completely clear out the need to have a storefront or, a place to go for employment, um, which is I find very, very, very interesting. So we'll see about that. Um, school bus drivers. That's a very eerie theme. Um, AI specialists, business analysts, information analysts. I actually think we'll see a growth in these, although they've already been highly admired. I it's so hard to say how this is going to play out, but I think they'll turn into services. Like, um, if you remember listening to the video I did, I'm recording this Saturday, but I won't be posting it until Monday. So, I'll just refer to the Uranus and Gemini video. I talked about Virgo, services as a way to make money. When I think about that, I think about, okay, so AI is taking over a lot of these jobs, and people no longer have the opportunity to these types of positions, but where does it go? Um, I think they become services, automated, not automated, but maybe the correct word is convenience services. Um, they could incorporate a lot of these things into our homes so that we don't have to. I think of the Jetsons, where they had the hover rounds to get around in their home, um, even microwaves, which I find extremely interesting because we've already had microwaves for eons now. But things like that, things that you can get quickly. Um, I feel like that's what's going to happen to a lot of the AI technology jobs that are being taken over by AI. I hope that makes sense. Um, Sim tech specialists, sustainability specialists. I think sustainability specialists is going to be very, very necessary. Um, and I'll talk a little bit more about that the further I get down to there's a particular line of work that has been excluded out of this AI conversation for as long as I can remember. I've been a career coach for about 15, 20 years now. And there was this one in particular girl that I can remember who did UX design. And what that does, it's almost like a DNA code to help you make services better, like a Virgo in the form of technology. I really, 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 really highly encourage people to go research what actually is UX design. I hope I'm saying it right. When I get there, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But there's something about that particular AI that they don't really want folks to know about, and people in those jobs have been excluded from work for years already. And there's a reason for that. Robotic engineers, electrical engineers, agricultural equipment engineers, world economics, um, world economic specialists, digital platform apps, educational development, data analysts. I feel like I said that already, maybe not. E-commerce, digital trade, intelligence, VR intelligence, AI, environmental and climate technology, automation. Um, when I think of the VR stuff, it goes back to brick and mortar. This idea that space or building, a place that you enter, is no longer going to be relevant, but you'll have like these little pods that, I don't know, say you want to go to Bahamas and you can bring me to Bahamas in this little pod, and then that little light thing comes up and it surrounds you, and now it looks like you're in Bahamas. I think those things are going to become very fucking real. Like virtual tours and things of that nature, where you do not have to leave your house. You can do these things wherever you stand, which is crazy to me. But I do think it's going to really eat, kill brick and mortar. So architect, um, they'll need those people, but only for digital format, you know, which is it just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Anyway, um, so Uranus is technology, virtual reality, literally just talked about that. Artificial intelligence, I'm pretty sure I said that. Renewable energy, um, government can become digital, um, democracy can become digital in some way, shape, or form. But it will be to create a fair system. That is the whole point. You know, I don't want to go on another tangent, but I have to say it because my heart's telling me to say it. Um, a lot of these AI technology things are taking over. And even though it might seem negative in ways, it's because really it's what's a good Plutonian word? We're almost getting like a cleansing of our bad traits that we've learned over the years through hate. Again, power and control, manipulation, power struggles, jealousy, envy, hate. We're getting cleansed of that energy through the breakdown of this AI and technology, where we're going to begin to see things can be a lot more peaceful. And again, even though it might be through AI, the overall goal is to teach people how to be better people, despite the color of your skin. It's going to be a huge one. Um, and, things of that nature. And that might be a really hard lesson for a lot of us to learn because there's a lot of frustration there. Those are very touchy topics. But ultimately, Aquarius doesn't give a fuck about the color of your skin. They love everybody. When you look at the mythology of Aquarius, um, Prometheus gave humanity the staff, um, with the lightning bolt to defend themselves against the gods who were at war with them just to have power and control over them. And that's when humanity became able to make their own decisions, live their own lives, et cetera, et cetera. You should go look up that story. It's something that I think is going to happen. Um, Obviously not in that way, metaphorically in that way, but through AI. Um, yeah, I can talk about this stuff all day. I'm like a 3 year. So this is really about showing us that we can have a fair system. AI doesn't take over, doesn't have to take over. So this could also be like political connections, community intervention. There will definitely be a bunch of social unrest and rebellion. Definitely some things changing with electricity. We're going to see some massive, massive, massive weather stuff, earthquakes specifically when we're talking about Aquarius. Um, Cryptocurrency can grow and evolve. Energy can grow and evolve. Helicopters, drones. Um, I do think that there's a sense that we are re, I, I don't know if reinventing, giving people back their voice from 2020, right? Um, because I think 2020 decreased our intellectual ability, which is another thing to keep in mind. Being stuck in the house all the time and having all this AI convenience is going to kind of have the same effect that it had on us from 2020. And when I say us, I'm really speaking about the kids that I think struggled with this the most, um, and how they operate in the world. And they're really struggling. Maybe some more stuff about that will come out and will be, analyzed and reassessed in some way. But I do think that Pluto and Aquarius is giving those people who suffered from that in a negative way their voice back. Um, this could also be scientists, intelligent people, AI training specialists, chat GPT training specialists, AI training specialists, um, that can help with, like, again, systematic racism, social injustice. This could also be like quantum data. Um, Scientists could really start to analyze the algorithms to make them, again, more fair and just, um, by studying trends. Aquarius is the trend setters. You can rest assured there'll be some wild trends that come out during this time. And then UX design. That's what I was referring to earlier. I will never forget that girl that I worked with. I've never had such a hard time helping somebody find a job before ever in my life. And then I took it a step further and I looked more into what exactly UX design is. Don't Google it. Ask Siri, what exactly is UX design? I don't even know what it's going to say, but I can almost guarantee you it is the answer to all our problems. When you see how dope UX design, only a Virgo person can fucking do this job. Let me just start there. This is a Virgoan job, like to the T. Wait till I'd be here for hours just trying to describe it, but it is basically the process in which to set up a business. You know how you have um, protocols, human resources, systems, structures, and things of that. UX design is all of that, but technologically. It can show you how to build a city, what streets to build, how to build the streets in order to make it probably one of the most smoothest ran cities in the entire universe, right? I mean, the amount of precision and knowledge in UX design is fucking crazy. I promise you I'm not making this up. Just go research it for fun. Your mind will be blown. Um, it's really, really quite amazing. And I can only imagine why it's been something that hasn't really been. There's probably like three people with that particular position, and I know there's a reason. There's a bigger reason why for that. But some of the things that UX design can do is help with long-term healthcare plans, digital trust management, cybersecurity, AI content moderator, blockchain developers, crisis operators, um, digital safety consultants, just to name a few. It really is like, it's a really dope, it's a dope technology. But I also think that, it's meant to track things that aren't fair and unjust, that don't run smoothly. Like Virgo rules feng shui. And if anybody really knows what feng shui is, it's all about organizing your home in such a way where energy flows. There's no stuck energy, so that you have more blessings that come into your home. That's exactly what UX design is on a very small scale, right? And so I also think that it'll be able to um, track, find hackers, And they might even end up hiring hackers for like FBI and CIA. I could imagine something like that happening. But when you think about it from that perspective, just think how many things have already been hacked and why aren't they using this to avoid those things from happening? Um, but anyway. Um, and then from the Saturn perspective, this is management, structures. I feel like I could say more about that, but Pluto is regeneration of wealth, financial systems. It'll definitely bring in some kind of new currency, bankers, even mafia, cartel. I know people are like, why the fuck are we talking about that? That is a business. Say whatever you want, but these are family businesses, and I do think that they will capitalize off of this greatly. Um, Debt, taxes. We can definitely become minimalist. I did talk about that in the Uranus and Gemini video. We're going to be forced to downsize in some way, shape, or form. Secret societies can change and evolve. Insurances can change and evolve. The way we look at credit and interest rates, mortality and mortality rates, these things could change. Gemini is about youth. Aquarius is youthful. Um, People could start to live longer or stay looking younger the older they get. The way we do loans, psychology, um, the way we handle death, um, holistic stuff, really any kind of astrology, numerology, palmistry, tarot. These things are going to have major transformations, new information and things of that nature. Um, Intellectual property, it's actually more of a Taurus thing in my personal opinion, but intellectual property is like these artists and stuff who create things that they can get it on a digital anything. I don't know why I'm having a hard time remembering what that digital platform was that was talked about a while back. Um, but this is a way to keep, these record labels from taking over your creativity, because right now it's all contracted. And once you sign that dotted line, probably no longer belongs to you, even though you might have created it. And this changes your ability to capitalize on your legacy. These could be great opportunities, which is why I think these people have been afraid for years about this time and era coming because it gives the people their power back. It really takes away from the powers that be, quote unquote, at this time. And because everything's digital. And that is a benefit for everybody. And they don't want to lose that power, but they are. They are going to. It might be a while. Some of us might not be allowed to see it, but it's going to happen. Also, it can help with diseases, sickness, like Parkinson's. What other kind of diseases are like Aquarian, Plutonic diseases? I don't know. Maybe neuroscience and like prosthetic parts. Um, yeah, stuff like that. Esoteric knowledge is going to grow and evolve. The way we handle trauma is going to grow and evolve. Vibrational healing. I know there are some people out there who actually already do this. It's just not that popular, so it can become a lot more popular. And then teledoctors, remote healing. Those recently have become more and more. Those are like those little hospitals and those little plazas You'll see a lot of them sometimes. But you don't have to go in. Everything's remote. You can do everything online. Um, mhm. Holographic teachers, cloning, smart classrooms. And again, Aquarius is a fixed sign. These are the energies that want stability, consistency and routine and reliability. Um, Pluto might throw that all out the window and challenge your attachment to those things. Um, Pluto's going to require you to let go of something. Um, you can do it gracefully or you can put up a fight. Either way, kicking and screaming, this change is happening. Pluto wants you to evolve, ready or not. You're going to go through some powerful changes that can bring up fear of anticipation, fear of what's to come and the change you're experiencing. Um, you might want to know what's coming, but it's going to ask you to have faith, um, to trust in your own life path and be open to changing into your own unique talents. This can be the ending of groups, friendships, social networks, or a dream. Um, any way you feel obligated to others in a way that's not serving you anymore, there's going to be some massive overhaul changes. All right, so now we're going to jump into the horoscopes. I will try to put in timestamps, but I can't make any promises that'll be done. Maybe it will. I hope. I don't know. Um, but if you know how to do timestamps, if you can put them in there, that would be so helpful. But if not, I'll do it when I get a chance. So if it's not done in the first few days, just keep coming back and checking. But yeah. So Aquarius, this is going to change you into more of your unique self. You might feel it's time for you to go on your own if you have been stuck in a group, a tribe, or a pack of friends, social networks out of obligation. Pluto will highlight more fulfilling groups, friendships, social networks, and paths that are more fulfilling, but it's up to you to make the change. Leo. Leo is opposite Aquarius. This is an ego death. Leo rules the solar plexus, personal will, creativity, how you self-identify. Um, since Leo is about the self and Aquarius is about the people, Pluto is going to challenge you through power struggles and the need to maintain your integrity. Leo wants to create, express, and be seen, but Pluto might make it so that you're not seen, which might cause some frustration, dark days, and false starts. But your inner light never dies. And so this brings you more into your creative power, and whatever transformation and change comes out of this is going to be, I mean, you think Leo energy is phenomenal today. Only Lord knows what that can grow and evolve into, which I think is going to be such a beautiful thing to see, experience, and go through. Taurus. Um, you just had a beautiful transformation from Pluto being in Capricorn. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is going to challenge what you've learned by asking you to do something different. Squares are intense, and Aquarius energy does square you. Things not being resolved, not knowing what to choose. It's going to be probably really, really difficult for Taurus people, but think bigger, create something different. You might not want to change again because you've already had to complete a milestone, but Pluto wants you to evolve. It's going to challenge your values, finances, and stability. And you still have Uranus and Taurus for a little while, showed you where you had to change. And Pluto is going to push for more possibilities, more disruption. So, looking at how you handle change without losing yourself, is going to be a good way to sit and reflect through the down times, but it won't be consistent. And every time you have any planet in an earth sign, including the moon and the sun, you'll have insights that'll help you. So it won't be consistent, but it will feel heavy. But if you lean into the changes and do the research, get help, a mentor, you'll get through this fairly quickly, or fairly less scathed. I'll say that. Scorpio. Pluto in Aquarius is going to square you, and it's your ruling planet. Pluto holds energy, but Pluto's going to challenge that in a very direct, objective way. So ask questions and it's going to force you to ask yourself questions that's going to require you to face some things within yourself, especially when it comes to your future goals, resources, and getting to know yourself more. It'll be a good time to assess how your sense of control and power affects others and yourself, how to change it and find a new approach. And also, what are your desires? What makes you, what kind of experiences do you want to have in life? I think these would be really, really great questions to ask yourself and then pivot around what makes you happy and just keep playing with different ideas, explore, do some deep research and have fun with it. Even though this is a square, I really do feel like Aries, Gemini, and Aquarius are very light-hearted energies. And I'm hoping that rubs off on people when we have these kind of really tough transits. But ideally, it wants to get you to the light, right? And that might require you to change some very deep seated, rooted beliefs, and ways and habits of doing things that are not serving you anymore. And so you're going to be forced to change those. And when you don't change them, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. It starts to feel like you're choking or you can't breathe. I think the good thing is that it's in your ruling planet and you live with this every day. So there'll be some groundedness to your change and transformation, even though it could be literally driving you absolutely fucking insane. People might not even know. It'll be very personal and internal. And whoever you seek for help, change and transformation, it'll be very private. And or the research that you do and the things that you learn and find out about what's happening to you will be transformational. It'll be life-changing, right? It'll just be the struggle might be about integrating it into your life and not just letting it be knowledge and information. You're definitely going to feel like something doesn't resonate with you anymore. It's not giving you the results that you want. It doesn't feel right. And maybe you end up feeling vengeful, manipulative, betrayed, like people are keeping secrets from you, playing mind games. Well, these are things that you do that you have to change. And you have to do this consciously, consciously choose to transform. And I think you will. You'll be fine. And elementally wise, Aquarius is going to trine all the air signs, bringing in new ideas, new information, new downloads, new ways of perceiving things. It's going to enhance how you communicate, how you relate, what's on your mind. Speaking your truth. This is going to show you what to teach what to offer. This is an opportunity to look at people in your life, um, to look at the people in your life and ask yourself, are they on the same page as you? Do they share the same ideals as you or hobbies as you? Um, you're going to be going into new parts of yourself so that you can reinvent yourself. It's really, this is a level up and glow up for all air signs involved. I just had to give that caveat. Um, Libra, you just went through a square with Pluto and Capricorn that was very intense. Now Pluto's in Aquarius. This is going to trine you. So this is going to bring in your soul family, your soul tribe, people who are on your frequency, and it can feel effortless. Gemini, you'll meet people from foreign countries, date different cultures, get married, travel, and you'll transform from that, whatever you're learning from that, or the experiences of that. Your beliefs can expand. You can learn a different language, study abroad, or even relocate. You might change your identity, your diet, or try something different like cultural foods. Your hygiene, daily routine, can change, or you're going to absorb other daily routines, hygiene things through other cultures. And you might publish a book or do some public speaking or announcements and stuff around those particular themes. Pluto, Aries. Um, Pluto and Aquarius squared you as well. And now Pluto says, go further, you know. This can bring in new friends, new acquaintances, new groups that are in alignment with you. This could be social empowerment, meaning you meet very, very powerful people in high places, powerful friends, famous people, people who are popular or authority figures, that can help you reach financial gains, or you become like a guru or something, or you meet a guru or mentor or somebody who's really just going to change your whole perspective on life. Sagittarius, you might be moving to a new neighborhood or learning about different neighborhoods, um, which can help you transform the way you communicate and how you connect with others. Reading more about psychology or going to school for psychology, really anything you can be going to school for, but this is really going to change how you express yourself moving forward. And you can actually witness your siblings going through a lot of change. Pisces, you're probably the only one not getting hyped up over this Pluto and Aquarius transit. You might completely disagree with the new technology, the new movement, and don't see the benefits of this. You're going to find a way to stay out of it, which gives you an opportunity to heal wounds through your subconscious healing, away from others in privacy, and connecting to your higher self, which is what I think we all should strive to do. Seriously, I cannot stress that enough. Cancer, you're going to be trying to understand other people more. You might be going deeper into yourself through counseling or therapy or astrology or numerology. Your resources are going to go through a massive transformation. This can come through a crisis, but you'll learn something that will benefit you in the long run. Virgo, you might go through a health crisis. You might learn how to develop your own health innovative ways. I don't know why I wanted to say not holistic. Oh my God, not Hellenistic. What is the name of the type of healing I'm thinking of? It was just in my head and then just went boop. Ayurvedic health systems. You might study that and use that, grow and evolve from that, and then you're going to teach it. You're going to be liberated by doing a lot of studying, reading, writing, researching that uncovers some way to heal your health that can lead to you becoming a teacher. I think this is amazing. I think this energy is going to be so amazing for Virgos. I'm here for it. Capricorn. This is going to bring transformation with your finances, self-confidence, and monetizing your skills and knowledge. Monetizing just means paid services, right? For what you know, your wisdom, things that you've experienced, any education you have, packaging that into a service and getting paid for it. Pluto wants you to become financially empowered. You can gain financial rewards, become wiser with a budget, or become wiser when it comes to a budget and or your finances. You will gain more financial security. You'll make more money. You'll be financially liberated from paying off debt or becoming kind of obsessed with making money. This can come from a crisis, since just tired of strugglenomics. Much about what I talked about in the Uranus and Gemini video. You're going to master those financial systems, and it's going to liberate you financially. That way you can like retire in the next 20 years, when this transit is over, or maybe sooner, who knows? It depends on where you're at with your process already. Because quiet as it's kept, most people don't know if you are somebody who's already in debt, and not necessarily debt, but you don't have any credit, you don't have any bills, you don't have any of that stuff, you're actually in a better place than if you are in debt, depending on how much that debt is, etc. And most broke people live like that because they're scared to get in debt anyway. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, you're scared to even address these things because you might think you don't qualify, but you do. You're actually in a better place to make these kinds of changes if that is your story than if you were already in debt. So keep that in mind. It might not be as bad as you think. You could grow a lot faster, and it's worth investing in yourself. So as usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.